If you have a career in sales and marketing or as an executive, you're gonna use an agency at some point. You're gonna need to outsource projects to expertise that you don't have on your team. And buying agency services, just like anything else in business, is a skill. Examples of things you might outsource could be design, could be writing services, could be CRM configuration work, websites. The way that you buy marketing services will have a big impact on your business, and it'll have a big impact on the outcomes that you're directly responsible for. So, here are some tips on how to get good at buying marketing services. But first, who am I to be telling you about all of this? Well, I've been buying and selling agency services for over a decade. I've worked in agencies for over 8 years. I've sold millions and serviced millions in marketing services. I sell services every day at a design agency currently, and I co-own a marketing agency in the biotech space. And I talk to people every day about marketing services, and I see people make the same mistakes over and over again. And I'd love to help you avoid making some of those and buy services like a pro. Tip number 1, go deep on portfolio. I believe the best measure of an agency is just looking at their portfolio. You see, when you buy a product, you know exactly what you're buying. You can see the product, you can get a walkthrough. When you're buying services, the work product doesn't yet exist. The work product of this agency collaborating with your team doesn't exist yet. The best way to get an idea of what that work product might look like is to see how consistently an agency has done work for their other clients. So any agency that's pretty good, they're gonna start to show off their portfolio on the first call or the second call. That's great. What they're gonna show you first is their most favorite stuff, their best stuff, obviously. And what you want to do is you want to be the buyer who digs deeper than that. So how do you do it? Just simply think of something specific that you can ask for. Ask, can you show me more examples from my vertical? Or say it's advertising services. Can you show me an example of a LinkedIn campaign that did well with a consumer audience? Can you show me examples of a Facebook campaign that did well with a developer audience? Right? And what you want to do is really just think of some specific questions you can ask to make them dig up extra pieces of their portfolio so that you're not just seeing the favorites. You're getting a sense of, are they actually consistent with what they say that they do? Because remember, when you look at their best portfolio items, it could be really attractive, and maybe that's exactly what they're going to do for you. Maybe they're totally going to knock it out of the park. I hope. But you don't actually know if the work that they're showing you is for a client that has the same budget. Maybe that client had 10x the budget that you do, and you don't know for sure if that agency is putting the same team on that client project that they're going to put on yours, right? So just get to see their portfolio in a deeper way. Step number 2, go into it with a starting budget of any kind. Just a rough idea that's your comfort zone. It's crazy to me how many people just come into these agency buying situations and say, oh, we don't really have a number. We're reaching out to many different agencies and seeing what's in the market. I literally had a call like that today. It's Monday. I literally had a call like that on Friday and the day before that. People who come in with no budget, no comfort zone. I'm not asking your budget because I'm trying to maximize your budget, right? I'm asking because there are so many different methods to produce any of the type of work that you're talking about. Take video projects, for example. Do you know how many different ways there are to produce a video? There are ways to produce a video for 5 to 7K. If you're Apple, you might pay a team of motion graphic artists to produce a video that's in the 6 figures, and there's everything in between. So I just typically, as a salesperson who's selling agency services, I need to know some sense of comfort zone so I can think, what is the best quality thing I can do to help you here within that comfort zone? And I can show you options that are well under your comfort zone and well above your comfort zone, but it's going to help direct the conversation. But let's say that you came to me and you don't have a budget, and I show you a project quote after some discussion that looks like 10K. And then you go back to your team and your team is like, oh, this is kind of a lot more than we expected. And so then you come back to me and you say, you know what, this was a lot more than we expected. It's probably not going to work out. If you had been clear up front, I might have been able to find a way to get that for you in a lower budget. I might have been able to work with my team to say, you know what, maybe if we structure the services in this way, or we cut that part out or cut that part out, we can still help them with exactly what they need here. But Elliot, shouldn't all agencies be putting their best pricing up front? Not quite. I think that's a crazy way to think, because again, there are so many ways to produce a piece of material, and every team that we work with is slightly different. Some teams are really, honestly, quite difficult to work with, and some are a breeze to work with. And the numbers that we're putting forward don't always pay respect to all the variables and nuances. But if you give us your number, then we can find a way to make it work. Step number 3, know the goal or the outcome that you value other than budget. So if you're looking for services that are going to support your lead generation efforts, know how many leads you need to generate. If you're looking for help with a pitch deck, know how much money you're trying to raise and how much money a successful deck will help you raise. If you're looking to fix a CRM, just understand, if we do this project correctly, our CRM is going to look like XYZ. Knowing this before you get into a call with an agency is going to help you ask more thoughtful questions. It's going to help you ask questions like, how will your process help improve my chances of raising $5 million from investors? Or, how will your process be better than other processes that I run into in having a CRM that can do X, Y, and Z? Or you can ask for campaign services, how many leads does your team think that this campaign can generate? And if their number on leads is not close to your number on leads, then talk about it, right? That's exactly where you want to dig in further. And that sort of conversation is going to be way more valuable to your agency buying process than general surface level questions. Tip number 4, hourly rates aren't as comparable as you think. First of all, not all teams are the same. Some teams are more expert than others. And sometimes, no matter what the difference in cost is, one team is just never going to be able to accomplish what another team can. If you're looking for something that requires technical expertise or really industry-specific expertise, hourly rates are almost irrelevant, right? If you need detailed UX designs, no matter how cheap an agency is, if they can't do UX well, they're just not going to be a contender for you. So first of all, don't get so caught up in comparing hourly rates between agencies. Look at something else. But the other thing is that the rate of the hour itself, of billable rates, isn't even that comparable, because some agencies work way faster than other agencies. Consider the difference between a good agency and a great agency. Sometimes that difference is speed. A less experienced agency is going to take a little bit more time. They're going to make some mistakes. It happens. They're going to need some hand-holding along the way to help interpret your feedback and get the project where it needs to be for your vision. A great team knows their stuff back to front. They'll get you fast turnarounds. They'll be respectful of your time. The less experienced team, the entire project might take twice as long and require 4 times as much as your team's time. And so the great agency, where the hourly rate might have been 2-3x higher than the less experienced agency, they still, at the end of the day, might be getting your team a better deal. They'll definitely be getting your team a better quality output. And they could be doing it for way less inputs at the end of the day. And part of being a professional agency services buyer is truly understanding the value of your own time and of your team's time, and valuing things getting done right the first time. All right, last thing, tip number 5. Now this one's a bit more from me as a seller than tip for the buyer, but I think you should hear me out on this. Tip number 5 is always provide feedback to the agency, even if it's a no. It is astonishing to me the number of professionals, executives, people who have started large multi-million-dollar funds, managers, directors within business, all across the board, who take time of an agency and get to a proposal. And then when they decide to not move forward with that agency, instead of just saying no, they avoid emails. They don't get in touch. They don't let me know why it's a no. It's okay if it's a no, right? But for any agency, it takes them quite a bit of time and effort to produce a proposal that's custom to your needs and to meet with you. And the least that you can do in a professional setting is at least give them some feedback and rationale as to why it's a no, so that they can improve their process from there. It's a fair trade of the time and the effort that's taken place. Okay, so those are the 5 tips. Let's recap. 1. Go deep on portfolio. 2. Have a budget number going into it. You can edit it later. Just have a number. 3. Know your goals and outcomes that you need other than budget. 4. Hourly rates, they're not as comparable as you think. And 5. Always provide feedback at the end of your buying process, even if it's a no. I hope this helps the next time you buy marketing agency services, that you find the right agency for your needs, that you have a process that's a really efficient use of your time, and that you start to build a reputation within your own team as somebody who's highly skilled in outsourcing projects and working with your partners. Good luck, like, subscribe, thanks y'all, and see you later.